You are now tuned in to the Premier Hotspur TV. Sit back, get involved, comment away, because we are live.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Premier Hotspur TV. It's your man Simon, North of England's biggest Spurs fan. Tonight, guys, the topic is there dark times ahead at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club? Who is to blame? So we're going to crack into it straight away, guys. Guys in the chat, please join in. Ask any questions you like, guys. Keep it nice. Keep it kind in there, guys. Smash the like. Subscribe if you already haven't, guys. We have got special guests on, guys. We have got Sussex Hotspur. Matt is always with me. And we have got Josh from the Spurs debate. And we've got Hyper from Mexico. He hasn't been on for a couple of times, but welcome, guys. Josh, we'll come to you first before we crack on. How's it going, pal?
It's not going well, is it? I don't know if you're asking me personally or if you're asking about my club. Because if you're asking me personally, it's a nice day today. It's nice and sunny. By the way, I'm the biggest Tottenham fan in the south of England, just in case you're wondering, and that's why I'm on here. But yeah, I just thought I'd put that in. But look, it's a lovely day. It's warm. It's clear in London. I'm 15 minutes from White Hart Lane as we speak. I wish I could drive there and grab myself a beer and grab myself a pie and get involved. But I'm just waiting for that final game of the season. There might be a slim chance we get a day out, but I'm waiting to see how things go with fans back in stadiums. In terms of the club itself, mate, we got a lot to get stuck into today. So all the guys that are live listening right now, hang about for this one because we've got some serious fire and energy to come out of our bellies tonight, mate.
Yeah, well done, Josh. Thanks for that, Josh. Hyper from Mexico. How's it going, pal? How's the weather? It's always looking sunny there.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, Simon. And yeah, it's always sunny here in Mexico. And like Josh said, maybe in personal terms we are good, but we are hurt in the football aspect. So we are going to talk about that.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Hypes. We've got Bobby in the house, guys. Bobby Sings in the house.
How you doing, mate?
Bobby, how are we, Mel?
Yeah, good, mate. Just finished rewatching Jose's brainwashing press conference earlier. So yeah, it was very interesting. But yeah, like Josh says, mate, it's some good stuff to get your teeth into tonight. It should be interesting. Look, if we're looking at the bigger picture, there is a massive picture.
Yeah, absolutely, pal. Matt, it was like what couple of hours I saw you last. How's it going, pal?
I saw that by the way, brilliant.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, I'm all good, mate. Did a good podcast earlier. Went down the beach today. It was nice weather. Ready to crack on for this. Yeah, beach, mate. Fiery debate coming up. So
It's all about Sussex, mate.
All about Sussex, boys. Anytime you want to come down.
So, guys, first before we start, we've got a few people in the chat already. We've got Paul. Come on, Simon. I think he was waiting for us to come on. Thank you very much, Paul, for coming in. Harry says no positives, only common new Spurs. Hyper, please defend Mourinho. Irish Hotspur. Well, we don't know it's the right Irish Hotspur because we've gone on today. People trolling us if it's the right Irish Hotspur. David, welcome to the chat, pal. Very dark days ahead. I don't see a way out of this, to be honest. Luke says Joel, Simon, Matt, and the rest. And Levy has no desire to win the league. Right, guys. We'll go straight into it, guys. The first one, guys. Sum up your feelings, guys, on what's happening at this football club at this present moment, guys. Josh, we'll come to you first, pal.
The way I sum it up at the moment is we're performing below par to where we should be in the league table. If you look at the form, the recent form, bar West Brom, we've lost every game. Obviously, we've done well in cup competitions, getting to the Carabao Cup, and then the wheels somewhat coming off, and then obviously getting through to the next round of the Europa League. But you'd expect us to beat the teams that were put in front of us. We'll see now against Man City, and we'll have a see what we get on Friday with the round, and hopefully we get an easy draw, because that's what we need. We're not in the form of our life. Even an average team will feel they can have a crack against us, and we'll find that out with the next 3 games in the Premier League. We've got Burnley, Fulham and Palace. I'm nervous. I'd like to think that we can go out and smash them to pieces with the players we've got. We've got some of the best players in their positions in Europe, and we should know we'll be hanging around mid-table with even with a leaky defence. We should still be pulling together as a unit, as a first 11, and with the class that we've got on the pitch, the stronger areas should be helping the weaker areas. And overall, I think we should be higher up the table, guys. I'm not sure how many people agree that we should be where we are, but I think we should be sort of hitting it around 6th, 7th at the worst. And we showed at the beginning of this season that we can do it. So there's no reason why we can't now bounce back. And I'm really looking forward to the next 3 games. And then I'll decide on how I feel about Jose. But boy, is it a crossroads we're at. And boy, can our season go completely downhill. Or boy, can we turn it around. We're at a roundabout is the way I see it at the moment.
Oh, brilliant comments there, Josh. Bobby, we'll come to you next, mate. To sum up your feelings, mate, what's going on in the next couple at this present moment?
I pretty much echo what Josh has just said. You know, we're underachieving massively, I feel, regardless of the players we've got there. You look at, we were talking yesterday about the attacking clout. A lot of emphasis has been given on the next 3 games and the next 3 results. I personally believe, for me to have any thought of maybe thinking about my, strong feelings towards Jose out, I think it's the games after the next 3 that are really going to make me change my mind. If we win the next 3 games, we should be winning them. The way I see it, it's the Arsenals and the Villas and the Man City games that are going to convince me otherwise. The next 3 games, with all due respect to them, we should be winning them anyway. So, so for me, it's not just a 3-game wait. For me, it's a bit longer if he stays on the job that long, because there's a few rumours flying around today, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah, absolutely, Bobby. There is a few rumours. We'll get into that in a minute, Bobby. Hyper. What's your feeling of what's going on in this club at the minute, mate?
Yes, like Jose told in his press conference, we have to continue going, and I know it is very difficult to see this, because as you know, I love Jose, and it's very difficult to see his breaking his records in a bad way here, because I believe he can do a good job, and he knows it, and the players knows that he can do a good job. The problem is, are they gonna give him time? Because I know we are not Manchester City. We cannot give him a very high budget to spend every transfer window. But look at Liverpool. Liverpool gave time to Klopp. So if we are not going to give money to Jose, I believe we should give him time, because we cannot give him nothing. So yes, I still believe in him. I am very hurt. I am hurt of everything that is happening right now to the club, to Jose. But I believe in him, and I believe these players are good enough. We just need to sort 2-3 positions to continue and to go on.
So to me, Hyper, just give us why you think Jose should be given more time, pal.
Yes, because I don't know if you remember when Klopp first started at Liverpool, they were blaming him. Yeah?
Yeah.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, mate.
You're jumping in and out, mate. Your signal's going in and out.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah. Guys, I don't know if you remember when first Liverpool came to when Klopp came to Liverpool. I don't know if you remember, a lot of Liverpool fans were calling for Klopp's head, and they didn't want him because of the results. But look at what happened after they gave him time. I know they gave him players like Salah, Wijnaldum. They gave him players like Alisson. They gave him players like Van Dijk. But apart from these players, they gave him time. So I believe we are in a similar situation, and I believe we can achieve big things if we give him time. Because like I told you, you have to give him one or another. If you don't give him money, okay, then give him time, but you cannot give him nothing. That is my opinion.
Right, okay. Matt, you've got the second question, mate. You want to fire it over to the lads, guys?
Yes, mate. I'll go to Bobby first. Do you think Paul Mitchell leaving was the downfall for Poch in terms of him buying players?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, we could look at. I'm assuming that's what we're doing today, is looking at the bigger picture. I'm a firm, big believer that when we were officially, there wasn't any question about it, we were officially the second best team in Europe. There was no question. It wasn't technically maybe not, on paper probably not, but we were ranked, according to the Champions League, the second best team in Europe. We should have gone out and invested. Now, who stopped that? Was it Mitchell not doing his job properly? Was it Levy tightening his purse strings again, as usual? Was it Poch turning around and saying, no, we don't need? The third one's very unlikely, because he's gone on record to say that he wanted the furniture there. I know it's prior to the to the stadium, but collectively, I would say from the board downwards to the immediate people below him, that was the time. That was the time to go out, and that strength that we'd accumulated by finishing second in Europe, to go out and to just show what we were made of. Exactly what Liverpool did. The Van Dijk and Alisson arguments always thrown at us. They pinpointed the weak spots and they strengthened them. And we had weak spots, and we still have. But if there was ever a time where we had the upper hand against the majority of the clubs in the Premier League and probably Europe as well, because of the name we'd generated by getting to the final, and the games we had prior to that, the Ajax and the Man City games, that was a time. And like I say, it was Daniel Levy. But we've got to remember, Daniel Levy is also answering to certain people as well. It's not him physically with the money. There is a larger being out there. There is a Thanos out there with the majority of the money. So the finger of blame lies, towards quite a few people, but they massively to blame not to invested when we had that power.
I feel like with the Paul Mitchell thing, I don't think he was there for the Champions League after the final. I'm pretty sure he left. I think it was a year before. Yeah. And you look at the players he scouted: Dele Alli, Alderweireld, players like that, and obviously, and apparently it's Daniel Levy that fell out with him. So obviously that partly has to go, I suppose, down to Mr. Levy. And I don't think it's a coincidence now that he's gone to Leipzig. They're flying at the moment. They've recruited really well.
Recruited so well, yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, it comes down to him. And I believe that's when Poch didn't trust his scout or Steve Hitchen, and whether he got offered players, he probably wasn't happy with the caliber of players that he was coming back with, because he lost his main man in Paul Mitchell. But thanks for your opinion.
No worries, mate.
Matt? Matt, before you go over to Joshua Hyperless, there's a couple of comments there. Jones says 5 defeats in 6 isn't good enough, but we played Chelsea, City, Liverpool, and West Ham. Poor form, but we still have that game in hand and fighting for two trophies. Harry says Jody don't want time; he just wants to leave his money and a trophy, which isn't a bad thing, but isn't a long-term man. Paul says Harry Redknapp said managing is easy when you have good players. So is Jody overcomplicating things, or are our players simply are not good enough? That one, guys, quickly, just a quick answer. Is Jose overcomplicating things, or is the players are not good enough? Just one answer each, guys. Anyone?
Yeah, sorry guys, I was on mute. So the question was, is he complicating things, or are the players not good enough? Look, it's probably I know this is probably going to sound like the boring answer, but it probably is a bit of both, because Poch tried with people like Davis and Dyer, who are still there, right? And he couldn't get a tune out of them. Neither can Mourinho. And does that mean that they're both poor managers, or does it mean the player's the common denominator? So I'd say the players are a common denominator in that one. And then you look at complication. Changing centre-backs every week's not going to help a defensive back four have consistency, communication and leadership. It's not going to help Lloris because he doesn't know who's in front of him, and different players, believe it or not, just like you have different football players that your mates are, different players have different styles. Some people are better at taking an out ball, some people are better at barging off a man. You got to work towards your strengths and weaknesses. So maybe some consistency at the back would have been better for Jose, rather than chopping and changing. And then when he has gone and actually gone consistent, he's gone with potentially our 2 worst centre backs, which everyone's wondering why he's gone with these 2. So he's making a crap out of what he's got by overcomplicating that situation. And then add to that, the players are doing silly basic schoolboy errors, like Sanchez not staying on his feet, Davis letting his man go inside of him, Eric Dyer tackling Werner when he doesn't need to and he's facing his own goal. So it's a mixed batch of the players having uncertainty, Jose having certainty, Lloris having uncertainty, and therefore we're getting these uncertain results. And you've got to bring in some consistency some way.
Oh, brilliant, Josh. Brilliant. Bobby, go on, mate. You wouldn't have it.
Yeah. I think, like Josh says, he's some of the decisions haven't been complicated enough. He's gone with Dyer and Sanchez for numerous games. For me, if you haven't got the players who are good enough, and we talked about IQ a couple of days ago, the IQ level's not there. Make it simple. Don't overcomplicate it, but work the system which is going to work with the lesser player. Play Sanchez and Dyer, of course, do it. But then work a system around it. If you're going to play Sissoko and Højbjerg, make sure they, like earlier in the season, we had one of the best defensive, but we were basically playing like a back 6. We had the two full backs, we had 2 central defenders, and we had 2 holding midfielders who were basically, up against with our centre backs. Why go away from that? Why complicate that? Why not just keep that? And we got found out. Jose got found out with his tactics, and people and teams and managers worked the way around it. But Jose's been brought in to make certain decisions, make different decisions, make changes tactically and personnel wise. When he has to be complicated, he hasn't become complicated, and when he needs to be simple, he's not kept it simple. So. As he offered, I know what Paul's saying. I know what Paul's asking. Has Jose overcomplicated things? At times he has, like Josh says, a bit boring answer. At times he has, but when he's not needed to or not had to, he's done it. Which never seen the point of that.
Right, thank you very much for that, Bobby. Hyper, quickly before Matt continues his question, is Jose overcomplicating things, or are the players just not good enough?
Yeah, I believe he has made a mistake playing Dyer as a center back. I know he has a proof to point, but in my opinion, just let it go. We know he wanted to sign him when he was at Manchester, but he has to try another things. I know Dyer, I have blamed him and I have abused him a lot of times, but Sorry for that, but he has given everything. He has given everything, and he's not a center back. He's a midfielder. So, in my opinion, we have to try something else. And we know when Dyer is playing, he's just an accident waiting to happen. And also Sanchez with those compilations, like with circus music when he's falling. And we know these players are not good enough, but the question here is, what do we do now? We know these players are not good enough at the moment, and the transfer window is far away. So what do we do now? The players need to step up because, like Jose said today, I cannot go into the pitch, and there is some things I can't control. Okay, I can tell you how to defend, but if you don't defend, what can I do? What else can I do? So, okay, if he's here next transfer window, give him the tools, and I promise you, he won't fail.
Right, Matt, do you want to continue with that question, pal?
Yeah, mate. I'll go over to Josh. Do you think Paul Mitchell leaving was part of the downfall for Poch, and I suppose Tottenham as well, in terms of how we just fell when he kind of left?
Yeah, look, I mean, he was very good at his job, wasn't he? He brought in players under 15 million quid that went on to be great, you know, whether it's Eriksen, whether it was, you know, you had obviously players that went on to finish in the top four. You know, we had Walker, we had Rose.
Ali,
Ali, 5 million. I think Modric was bought quite low as well. I did have a list of it somewhere, but I don't have it on me right now. So between the three of them, Levy, Mitchell, and Jose, Redknapp, Martin Jol, they had they were bringing in some good players, and these players went on to beat Champions League teams, go to Barca, go to Madrid, beat Madrid, you know what I mean, beat Ajax, Inter Milan, you know, so the success is there, guys. I know we haven't got anything physical to show for it, you know, a nice silver trophy, but you know, success is a journey as well as a result. So we have to remind ourselves of the success we've had, and maybe it's painful to say it now because we're sitting in the high dizzy heights of mid-table, but you know, we're not used to this, and that's probably where some of our frustration comes from, because on the face of it, we're such a big club, you know, we've got such a big brand and presence. So yeah, Mitchell was a big part of our success. Pochettino, Jol, and Redknapp had their role to play. Obviously Steve Hitchen, you know, your NGs and Kudus and players like that, you know, yes, you're going to buy players young because you want to develop them. They don't come with an ego. They don't come with a big wage packet. You can go on to resell them. You look at Luis Suarez and Coutinho, you know, Liverpool's still spending that money. So a business involves buying, you know, a bargain, working on it, and then, you know, potential, and then selling it. Look at Gareth Bale, you know, look at Modric. You know, we've sold players and used that money again. So part of running a football club is developing players, unless you're Man City or unless you're Chelsea. You're going to have to find a smart way. There's no easy answer as, oh, can you just put a couple of zeros on that and thank you very much. And whether we like it or not, we don't have a sheikh as an owner, and we don't have a Russian oligarch. So, you know, we've got a normal businessman, and trust me, 5 billion is not big in the football world. These lot, the sheikh's worth $1 trillion. I mean, he's in another planet, right? And Roman's what, 50 bill. Joe Lewis is 5 bill. So for me and you, $1 billion is crazy, right? When you use the word billion, but in their level, you know, most of his 5 billion's tied up anyways in property and businesses. But it's easy for a Roman to go, oh, 5 bill, yeah, take 5 bill because that's 10% of my pot. That's the whole pot that Joe Lewis owns. A trillion. Yeah, the sheikh to put 5 billion in C, he doesn't even have to blink. Yeah, it's like him tapping his card at Tesco's. So we have to think about new ways to bring in players. We have to develop players. We have to coach players. We have to buy Eriksens. We have to buy, you know, Ali's and whatnot, right? Whether we like it or not, that's the business model. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they should have put more money in. Of course, I would have loved that. But you have to have smart people. And Paul Mitchell worked for Spurs. We also, and I don't have the names at hand, but we lost 2 technical guys in the buying department to Liverpool. And they were involved with bringing in a lot of Liverpool players as well. So, if you guys know the names, there's 2 guys. I think it was about 2015. They were doing really well for Spurs. They didn't have it. They weren't famous. No one knew them, but there were 2 or 3 guys. There was a couple of them behind the scenes in the recruitment department.
Was it?
No.
Kamali was earlier.
Comoli was part of that Liverpool move, but after that,
Yeah.
Comoli recommended these two boys.
Yeah.
You got to take them Liverpool, and they came in, and these two boys resigned. Read about it on Google; it's there. And they went to Liverpool, and they were part of Suarez, Coutinho, and all these other young players in Europe that we didn't know about. And then they came and they blew up. Right, obviously Suarez blew up in the World Cup, so you got to find your gems. Come on, guys, this is business. This is the real world. We can't spend what oligarchs have got. We've got to find gems. To find gems, you need an eye for a player. To have an eye for a player, you need contacts. You need right people. Paul Mitchell had it. Steve Hitchen hasn't done the greatest job. But then you have to also say Steve Hitchen went to Milan and tried Skriniar, and maybe he wasn't backed. Maybe he's not a good negotiator. Maybe he was given a budget and he's not very good at buying and selling. So I think in answer to your question, he was a big loss. Paul Mitchell was a big part of our success, and this is why behind the manager, behind the chairman, we have to dig deeper. And as programs like this help you learn that, is to dig deeper behind this big organization. There's a lot of pillars that have to be in the right place to get success on the pitch, rather than just one or two faces, which is easy to sort of point fingers to Levy or Lewis or Mourinho or Pochettino. You could waste a lot of money. I mean, I can tell you straight away right now, before I hand over to someone else, we spent 230 million in the last 5 years from 17. Well, that's not even 5 years, but 4 years from 17 to 20 on flops. Sanchez, Sissoko, Lo Celso's unproven. He's injured in and out. So I'm not putting. This is average, not even flops. Average. Steven Bergwijn average. Lucas Moura, Ryan Sessegnon, Serge Aurier, Vincent Janssen, and Matt Doherty. That's 230 million quid. So this is where that 230 million quid, with the right recruitment and the right scouting system, if it wasn't for Harry Kane, where would we be? Which was a freebie. Exactly. So, Absolutely. Of course, guys, I'm glad you brought up recruitment, because I sit here with these spreadsheets and it drives me nuts looking at the money we've spent. And it's like, for anyone who's watching now, recruitment is just as important as management and coaching.
Yeah. Spot on, mate. Yeah. I mean, I've got a few names that Steve Hitchen signed here. I've got the whole list, but I mean, he signed Sanchez, Moura, Aurier, Llorente, Foyth, Gazzaniga, Clark, Gedson Fernandez, Vinicius, Joe Hart. I mean, his top one's probably, so I'd probably say Ndombele, then maybe probably Reguilon, Bale, Roden.
Højbjerg.
Yeah, Højbjerg. But then the rest, it's just, there's at least 6, 7, 8 players there that are just.
But that's always going to happen.
I think we're going to see a lot of loans turning into transfers. If you look at Lo Celso and you look at sort of, Carlos Vinicius, I think he's trying to be smarter, Levy, with his money, and rather sort of expose his risk over a season or two, rather than go out and stick down. Tanguy nearly burnt him, but it's turned out to be a success. So I'm not sure. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think we're going to see 60s and 70 mils and marquee signings. I think we're going to see loans. I think we're going to see young people. I think we're going to see potential, and that's where Gedson Fernandez or these guys, Nkudu, they come for a season. The manager reports back saying not good enough, and they go back out. And I think that's what we're going to see more of. I know the fans want to see marquee signings. We want to see Bruno Fernandes, Skriniar, and all these players, but 230 million has been spent on an average player there. That list I gave you, the average signing there was roughly, just going across it, is about 30 million. So, maybe spending 30 million is not as guaranteed. Maybe we need to spend 50, 60 million to get the guaranteed guy. But even then, if you look at Sanchez at 40 million, not guaranteed. Yeah. So it is tough, isn't it? It is tough where you put your eggs, because if you put them in 2 or 3 baskets, you need them to hatch. If you put them in 6 baskets, 2 or 3 can hatch, and you can move the other 3 on, and you kind of balance your books in a long way round. So that's the difficulty, guys, of the whole process.
I think, just quickly, for me, it's not about just buying players. I think it's just actually about identifying and buying players that we actually need in those positions, not, have a proper plan, like what Liverpool did when, they went and got Alisson, Van Dijk. I'm not saying we're never going to spend that amount of money unless we sell like a Harry Kane or a Song, because that's what they did with Coutinho. But we just don't have the luxury of having someone like Coutinho. Can I just say something quickly,
guys, before I sign off on this, before I go on mute? If you look at your Kyle Walker-Peters, I know that deal was probably done on the back of getting Højbjerg because it plugged a hole for both teams. But if you look at Ryan Sessegnon, you look at Ollie Skip, what could we have done with those guys in the squad? And was that Jose reporting back to Hitchin and Levy saying get rid of them, they're not good enough to be first 11? Or was that Hitchin or was that Levy? Because I tell you what, those players, someone's made a mistake by sending them out on loan, because you know, we could have done with those players. So it begs the question, who behind the scenes in the coaching development side is looking at these young players and saying loan them out? Because Skip could have done a job for us. Who knows? You know, a lot of people have said Skip, we could really do with Skip right now. So maybe, you know, someone needs to take the blame for loaning those players out as well.
Yeah, great point, Josh. Cheers for that. Hyper, I'm coming to you next.
Yeah.
Do you think Paul Mitchell leaving was part of the reason of the downfall for Pochettino and Tottenham, in your opinion?
Yeah, we have mentioned here a lot of the players that haven't worked here at this club, and they are a lot. And year after year, we even see names that we don't even remember. And when you see that names, you said, "Oh, we signed that player. I didn't even remember." But that just shows you how bad those players were. And remember when we sell Gareth Bale, all that money, the players we bought, look at them. Where are they now? Some of them are even retired, or they don't play anymore, or they are substitutes. So yes, we have to do a better job. And putting a small parenthesis here, I just want to say, in these discussions, there are a lot of different topics, but I just want to say, talking about Manchester City, there is some problems there, because I just want to mention some players. In the first season, when Guardiola arrived, they bought Gundogan, Zinchenko, Sane, Stones, Bravo, and Jesus. Then the second season, they bought Bernardo, Ederson, Kyle Walker, Danilo, Mendy, and Laporte. And then the next season, when they win everything, they bought Mahrez, just Mahrez. He cost 60 millions. And then the next season, they go for Rodrigo and Cancelo. And then they go for Ferran Torres, Nathan Ake, and Ruben Diaz. So I know we cannot do that. And the problem is, sorry for saying this, but I know this is corrupted. The people who are involved in all of these regulations, the thing is corrupted. And the problem is, other teams, other clubs like us, or different clubs, can compete with these models of business, because these businesses are so aggressive. They put so much money in these transfers and in this business. But at the end of the day, if we don't have that power, if we don't have that financial power, then we can have another power, and that other power is a process building on that, and giving time to these players to mature. And yes, I believe also, like Josh said, these are like eggs, or like a egg that is going to hatch, and you have to give him care, love, you have to give him light, but you cannot go quickly and try to change everything on one night or on one day. So in my opinion, if we are not going to give this kind of aggressive approach with this model, okay, then in my opinion, I believe we should give Jose time, buy new players, young players, and let them develop for the next 10 years.
Right there, Hyper. Thank you for your comment there, mate. Absolutely. Just run through these comments, guys, before I get onto my one, guys. Jonesy says frustration comes from being better than Liverpool for 3 to 4 years, then go and they go on to spend 75 million on a centre back and a 60 million on a goalkeeper. Paul says Jose loves himself so much he'll try and convince people that finishing 11th is actually finishing top of the bottom half of the table and will claim that's a trophy. Darcy Cloud says that's a cool point. I don't follow that stuff on clubs, so I didn't know about that. I think that's what you said about Josh, about the stats there, Josh. Lo Celso is our player now. Yeah, we already got him. Darcy says, do you guys like any of those signings for long term. They all seem like signings for supplement your core team. With Luke says we've already signed him. Yeah, I know that. Yusuf says, what up, guys? I think Poch being here for a long time maybe was a problem. You see that. And Paul says, smash the like button, guys. Support the channel. Simon and the boys are on the march. Thank you very much, Paul. So, guys, we've gone on to a few topics there, guys. We've gone to the next one. The next question, guys, is who's to blame? Who's to blame for all this? Now, to me personally, we can say the owners, they haven't pumped money into the club and things like that as much as we want to, but they have pumped money into the club into certain ways. And me personally, I don't think the recruitment has been on our side really. After we're losing Paul Mitchell, I think Steve Hitchen has absolutely done an absolute awful job recruiting. I don't know where he goes for his players. If you look at other clubs and things like that. So me personally, guys, I'm literally like recruitment, Enoch. So Josh, we'll come to you first, mate. Who's to blame for all this, mate? Who do you reckon for all this? What's happened at Tottenham at the minute? Who is to blame?
I think so. It's a difficult question, and there's no easy answer. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this chat right now, and there wouldn't be so many opinions floating around about who's to blame. And when it's all gravy on the pitch, when we're on our way to Madrid, and I was there myself, it was like, yeah, Spurs are here. We're here to stay. We've hit the promised land. We're 90 minutes away from picking up the biggest trophy you're ever going to see in your life. It's all gravy. We weren't having these debates then, were we? We were too busy waving flags and, putting up middle fingers at everyone else. And it's funny how within just, I don't know, something like 24 months, we're sitting here. And how quickly football can change from that position to where we are now. And it's amazing how coaching staff can really change your club. They hold the key on the pitch. They're supported by recruitment, by obviously a chairman and his board. And when you look at sort of the pillars of a football club, you've got the fans, you've got the players, you've got the chairman. And between the three of them, they need to find some kind of happiness of where everyone's expectations are. So maybe we need to start with expectations. So if we just go on the point of financially to start with, Manchester United, the Manchester clubs have money coming in. Manchester United from infrastructure, and Man City from a rich owner, and Chelsea from a rich owner. So instantly you've kind of got to take three out the equation. So there's your top three spots gone financially. You're then left with Liverpool, Spurs, and the rest. And we're all kind of really financially in a second tier. So first of all, let's just get our parameters in the right position. Because if we think we're going to compete with City and United and Chelsea, then you've not been in football too long. Because like I said to you, one's worth $1 trillion, one's worth 50 billion, and then we're worth 5 billion. So right now, whatever you live within your means, right? You can't buy a Ferrari, you don't. You buy, you buy a Ford Focus, whatever it is. So let's just get that set. And then secondly, you've got to remember that this is a business that needs to self-fund itself somewhat, because would you run a business that you have to keep putting your own money in? No, you wouldn't, right? You'd become bankrupt pretty quickly. So building a stadium, building the infrastructure is the other part of bringing in off the pitch revenue. And trust me, we've got the most versatile stadium in the world and what we've built. So that will bring more money, guys. Just be patient with that stadium. It will bring in a lot of money off the pitch. Just because it's a 24/7 stadium, it's got 2 pitches, it's versatile. It will take over Wembley. It will take over anything else, right? It's the most technologically advanced thing out there in Europe. Thirdly, you need obviously a good coach to develop young players, because we can't buy what you've just gone through that list. We can't buy Walker for 50 mil, but we can sell him. So we buy Walker young when he's not worth 50 mil, he's worth 10 mil. Danny Rose, whoever these players are that we bought young, we've gone on to do smart buys, right? Ericsson. And then it comes down to the players and the hunger and what they have. So it's very difficult to point the question in one area. And I wish we could, because, thank you very much. I've got my answer. I can go to bed tonight pretty content with knowing where the blame lies. It's blame across the board across the management and across down to the players. And then the fans have an influence as well. You know, if we protest outside stadiums, we play a part too. So I think first and foremost, if we're going to point blame, we've got to point it across the board, guys. It's very easy to blame anything in life, criticize and blame. But listen, at the same time, you've got to look at the wealth of your owners. You've got to look, Levy's a 30% owner of ENIC, okay, and 70% is Joe Lewis. They've put their money into that business, all right? They earned that money whichever way they did in life, and they've put that money into their business. That business is their bread and butter income. It is everything they earn through that business. If you look at a lot of money of Joe Lewis's money, it's tied up in real estate and businesses. It's not like 5 billion in his bank. He can go and say, take me out 5 bill. It's actually out there, probably trying to secure 5 generations of his family. The same with Levy. He ain't doing this for himself. He's doing this for his kids. So first of all, we're supporting a business that happens to own our football club, which we are very personally attached to. So I think the emotions that we have as fans, we sometimes forget that we are actually owned by a business that someone's put their personal money in. And yes, they take money out, but you tell me one businessman that doesn't take money out of his business. Go and get a 9 to 5 if you don't want to take money out of the business. It's as simple as that. But they have a duty of care. When you own a football club, you're not owning a shop that sells clothes. You have a duty of care to give something back to the fans. And that's why we're all so hurt. Now, the thing is, really sort of finishing off quickly, there's many ways to bring in money off the pitch, on the pitch, Champions League money, buying players young, selling them on, whether it's Coutinho or Suarez, whether it's Bale or Modric. Players are trying to do the same things to compete with these trillionaires of City and Abramovich and Man United's global money. So we're trying to get to the Man United level, right, with Levy and Joe, by doing it the long way, the hard way, the only way. The only other way is he goes and borrows £1 billion, or he puts his own personal money in, and he sells all these properties he's got, and he says, look, I'm going to make Tottenham fans happy and put £1 billion of my own money, or 500 or 300 million. But guys, I mean, is he really going to do that? I mean, all these people saying, leave Joe Lewis, put your hand in your pocket. Is he really going to do that? Is he really going to put 500 of his own personal money in? No, he's going to take it out of the business. So the only way to do this, guys, is to build from the ground up infrastructure. And if you look at our net spend for the last 5 years, it's the same as Liverpool's. But Liverpool have gone on to have more success than us. That's down to recruitment, whether it's Mane. That's down to Klopp, whether it's one of the best managers that's been out there in a long time, and it's down to smart spending. So look, I'm sorry to break it, but there is no easy answer and there is no easy reply. It's many things that are involved, and we could, really be all night, unless we go and get an oligarch like a Russian or a Russian or one of these big wealthy individuals that are worth 50 bill, a sheikh. We're gonna have to do it the long way and the hard way and the smart way, and that's the way it is. I'm sorry, but that's the way I see it anyways.
Brilliant points there, Josh. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you, pal. Before we get to you, Bobby, we've got John here. He said it's down to the board at the end of the day as they make decisions on firing and hiring managers and also budgets to sign players. Paul says, I think Levy's very ambitious with what he has done with the stadium and has showed it again by going out and getting the best and the biggest name manager in the world. So, Bobby, we'll come back on them questions actually in a minute, guys. Bobby, same question to you, mate. Who do you think is blamed for this, mate? I know it's a tough question. That's what I mean, but try and sum it as best possible you can, mate. Steve,
we've got immediate person to blame, which is right now what we're seeing on the pitch. As far as I'm concerned, we've got the immediate problems. Immediate blame can be shifted to Jose. That's a smaller picture. The way he's worked, etc., we've covered all that. So the immediate small-minded, the tunneled vision version of who's to blame, we'll look at Mourinho. The bigger picture, like Josh says, it is the board. They've got their own way of running. I think we're pretty fortunate. I know what you think. No matter what you think about Levy, I think we're pretty fortunate. We have got a Spurs man, someone who supports Tottenham, who as one of our main guys at a stadium. He took a lot of pride. He takes so much pride in that stadium that we've got. And like Josh said, as an investment, as a revenue generator, that's going to be second to none. That's going to bring up quite a hefty percent of the revenue coming into Tottenham will be that stadium. As far as the board have gone. I know Josh likes his stats. Here's a couple for you, mate. Going back, and this is all thanks to my trusted secretaries, my wife, and my oldest child. So I gave him a list earlier. But I mean, going back to 2014, Atletico Madrid were the runners-up in Europe. They spent nearly 120 million in the summer. Juventus in 2015 were the runners-up. They spent over 100 mil. Juventus were the runners-up in 2017 in the summer. They spent over 100 mil. Liverpool finished runners-up. We all know what they did, and we all know what we did as well. So there is that change of mindset. Now I know what Josh has said. You know, our outgoings and our spending can't be as much. We can't match many other clubs out there, but we have spent just as much as. Well, I think Liverpool spent about 460, if I'm right, Josh, and we've spent about 400, you know, in the last 4 or 5 years. So we're not that far away from Liverpool. That comes down to our recruitment. If we've spent a right amount, just about the same amount of money what Liverpool spent, look at their quality of squad and look at our quality of squad. So board, recruitment drive, the larger picture, they're the ones to blame. But as an immediate blame game if we're playing, and for me, that falls on Jose's shoulder.
Right, brilliant there, and Bobby, thank you for them. Them stats are good. Them stats are good.
Yeah, I'll thank him, mate. I'll thank him.
But you know what, guys? I didn't really know before getting hyper. I didn't really know that that Chelsea Romans was worth that much. Jeez Christ, how much far behind we are, like in wealth. It's unbelievable. Only 5 billion. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. Hyper, same question to you, mate. The best possible you get. Who is to blame for this, mate?
Yes, we should share the responsibility. But talking in the positive aspect, I think we should all unite from top to bottom, and you know, from the people who works as the security guards, from the people who works at the kitchen, from the physios, everyone who is involved at the club, they should get united, because this is the time this club is going to reach another level, and the stadium is a sign of that. Now, like Jose said, there are a lot of things, he said in the press conference, there are a lot of things going on behind the curtain, and sometimes a lot of people do not see that work that they put. And he mentioned after the West Ham game, they went straight to the training ground, and also, yeah, to stretch maybe, but they went also to the video room to watch the errors in the West Ham game. So a lot of people don't see that effort, that work, and maybe also the work that Levy does, and the work that the recruitment apparently does. But the problem here is, look, in all this scale, in all this hierarchy, I think the most comfortable position is the fans' positions, because you see everything through your cell phone or your computer, and you say, oh, okay, sack him, because that is a very comfortable position. And also maybe for the board and for the people who is upstairs, maybe blame Jose, and I know he's to blame, because he's the first in that fire line. He's the first, and he knows that. He also knows that, and he takes that responsibility. But the question is, okay, we sack him now. Who do we bring? And these players did the same to Mauricio, so they are doing it again to Jose. And what tells you that they are not going to do it again? So this is a cycle. And if we don't point the finger to the real people who is up there, we are going to continue like that in this circle. And I believe the blame is on everyone, on everyone. But some people has more blame to carry on their shoulders than others.
Brilliant, Hyper. That was good there, pal. Matt, do you want to go on your
Yes, mate.
second question? Before you get to that one, Josh, we got one for you here, mate. Darcy Cloud says, "I'll give Josh a chance at running the club if he can participate in the podcast and drive without crashing. I'll trust him to drive the club forward."
They know about his billions in the bank as well. That's what it is. They know about his billions in the bank. That's what it is.
Rich man, this guy. Joe says, "Do you think we have a bad? Do you think we are having a bad season? We had a bad run lately, but with the team we've got, we are still competing in all three competitions. And the league position looks bad, but a couple of wins, and we're back in European places." Go on, Matt. You got that other question, mate? You want to fire over?
I have. I'll go to Mr. Mourinho, man. Let's go to Hyper first. Is Mourinho the right fit for Tottenham? If he's not, who is?
I think, for example, Nagelsmann is a product of all this hype, and I believe all this hype also comes from the media, from television, from all of this. But what you are going to get with this manager, and this also is a product of the new generations. so sometimes I see they look at Jose like a father who is telling them what to do, and they don't want this. So this is also maybe a product of the new generations. They want managers like Ten Hag and Nagelsmann, Tuchel. I've heard they wanted before he was at Chelsea. So I believe all these managers like Arteta, they are product of this new philosophy, this video games influence, and also the media influence. But realistically, what will happen to Nagelsmann here? And let's be honest, and I don't want to be to say this, but why would Nagelsmann leave his team and look in the mess we are in? And maybe he will leave his team, but when he is here, he's not going to have the same recruitment team he has at Leipzig, and he's not going to have the same team around him and the same philosophy they built on Leipzig on, because Leipzig is also very good to find this talent. So at the end of the day, I believe a lot of opinions from the fans, from our fans, are influenced by television and by the media. Who is the right man? I don't know. You can bring the manager you want in the world or in the history. You can bring him now into Tottenham, and maybe he wouldn't solve every problem we have right now. So who is the right guy? Maybe that is not the right question. Maybe the right question is like we all said, the recruitment side. So the right question is these people who are in the recruitment area right for this club? Maybe not.
Okay, going back to your obviously Nagelsmann point, in my opinion, I don't believe he is overrated. He's second at the moment in the Bundesliga. They went and got Paul Mitchell. I'll just read you his kind of CV to date. He's a rebuild manager, which is probably what Tottenham need at the moment, because we're not going to spend millions and millions of pounds. At the age of 28, he took Hoffenheim from the relegation zone to the Champions League. He reached the Champions League semi-finals last season with Leipzig, and he beat us as well that season over our master tactician, Jose. And he currently has them 2 points off top with the best defensive record in the league. And for me, it sounds like he could be like Mourinho was back in the day when he was the special one. He seems to me like he's the next one. And I think it wouldn't be a bad appointment in my eyes if he's a rebuild manager, and he could bring his staff with him if he wanted to.
I was going to say he'd probably bring Mitchell with him as well, won't he?
Well, if he wants to work with Levy again, that's the problem. Okay, Bobby, I'll come to you, mate. Do you think Mourinho is the right fit for Tottenham? And if not, who do you think is?
Like I said, I mean, I'll take Hyper's comments on board, mate. You're absolutely right. You know, there are people out there who are going to take the media hype and the media, the TV hype on board and say, oh yeah, they've probably never seen Leipzig play in their life, but the fact that his name's fashionable, they'll probably go for Nagelsmann. I personally think the game's changed, so we do need a younger breed of manager. We do need a younger breed manager with newer ideas, fresher ideas. And he has got that clout about him. You know, he has got a name, rightly or wrongly. He has got a name out there within the football world. We brought him over. He has got a bit of pulling power. Like you say, hopefully he'll bring his staff over as well, and maybe Levy and Mitchell can get the thing sorted and bring them back as well. And I think his newer ideas and fresher ideas will be I sometimes wonder how different was Pochettino before he left towards the end. How different was Poch's voice in comparison to Mourinho's voice coming in? Because they're both kind of, you know, speak from the same hymn sheet, as in tonally, as in the way they put they come across. Nagelsmann, a totally different breed, a newer breed, and I think that's the reason why, as well as people going by the hype. You've listed his CV pretty well, and there's no reason why he's not good enough for Tottenham. Now, Hyper also says, why would he come to Tottenham and to the mess? Let's be honest, without upsetting any Leipzig fans who might be watching, which is very unlikely, we're bigger than them. Yeah. We've got a bigger name than them.
And it's the Premier League as well for me.
It's the Premier League, mate.
Biggest league in the world. I don't see anyone who wouldn't want to come.
Yeah. So Nagelsmann, and obviously we spoke about Nuno earlier as well. So, if we are going to keep within the Premier League, then out of all I know Rodgers has been branded, he'd be absolutely fantastic. But where Leicester are and going forward, I think there's more of a structure and a thorough project at Leicester than what we've got at Tottenham. Nuno will probably, I think he'd probably jump at the chance. So within the Premier League, Nuno. But if we are going for a big name European manager, Hyper, I'd go for Nagelsmann, mate. Yeah.
So if Bobby, if you had your choice, who are you going for? Anyone you want?
I've said Nagelsmann for a while, matey. Yeah. Okay. I've been singing his name for a few weeks. I think Josh a personal message a month or so back, and I mentioned Nagelsmann.
Okay, thanks for that. Great points. Josh, lastly, do you think Mourinho is the right fit for Tottenham? And if he's not, who is, or who would you want?
I think Mourinho needs to be at a club where he's backed with money, like we've seen at Madrid, Chelsea, and United. But Mourinho can also be a very expensive experiment that goes wrong, and that money goes wasted almost. If you look at the 380 million spent at United to then finish sixth with them, they didn't spend 400 million nearly to finish sixth. Chelsea didn't bring him in and back him to finish 16th. His ego and arrogance can get in the way, and I think when players listen, whether you work for a company or you manage people, if you're a prick, people just don't work for you. End of story, right? It doesn't matter. If you think of managers in the past at your workplace that you haven't seen eye to eye with them, and everyone's had one. You're just not looking forward to going to work. You're kind of like, can't wait for him to get replaced. It's human nature to hate people, and it's human nature to like people. Whether you like it or not, that's the way we're built as humans. We like and we hate. We dislike and we like. Maybe hate's a strong word. So with Mourinho, if his arrogance to not drop a defender, or his his reluctance to be honest, or protect his players in public, if that starts to build a snowball of discontent within the dressing room, you all of a sudden, he's a bit of a prick. Yeah, he is a bit of a prick. I told you he's a prick. And all of a sudden, they want him out, guys. Just like at work, you can't wait to get rid of a manager. It's no different in a football club. Why would it be? We're human beings. We're all the same, right? We're all full of emotions. So in terms of Mourinho, he's either got you all in and he's got that siege, we against the world mentality, and he showed that at Chelsea, United. But then, after, it's almost like a good salesman. You buy from him in the beginning and then you realize he's just selling to you. And it's kind of like, I don't buy it anymore. And I hope we're not at that point where the players are saying, it works when you came in like an impact sub, you did the job. But now we're kind of realizing actually underneath that you're a bit of a prick. Sorry to say it, right? But that's the short and sweet of it. And like I said, you know, I hope they haven't given up on him. If they have, they need a likable person. People like spending with people they like. And I know what people are probably shouting at the screen, but it doesn't matter if you don't like your manager. If you want to win, you give it your all. No, we're human beings. You got to like the person you live with. You got to like the person you marry. You got to like the person you work with. And then you can think about winning things with them. It's as simple as that, guys. Otherwise, you don't fancy giving the extra yard for them or the extra energy for them. So we need a manager that's likable. The players actually like working with. The younger players feel he's a fatherly figure and they're not isolated or put out to dry, and they feel like with this person I can grow and develop. So I think Nagelsmann, you know, if we look at a certain German in the Premier League, Jurgen Klopp, he came in, he needed a couple of seasons and then he got going. Mourinho, the jury's still out. Can he change his habits and ways? Some of these silly decisions like starting Eric Dyer and Sanchez must be winding up the squad, let alone millions of fans around the globe. So there's another name I'm going to throw in that hat, Brendan Rodgers. Yes, he didn't win the title. I agree. Of course, he didn't win the title, but he was so close against the oligarchs and the sheikhs of City. You know, with not the pennies he had, but you know what I mean. In that world, it was pennies and pounds versus £50 notes. So you have to respect the guy for what he did. He then went obviously into a lesser league, and he did really well in Scotland. And he took over a Premier League winning champions from Leicester, and he had it all to do because obviously he had to lift the club back up again, and he did that again on a budget, guys. Right? So if you look at the budget that we have, we need a player who can buy. So we need a manager who can work with a recruitment guy who can buy well, who can coach, who can develop, and who the players ultimately like working for. And I know it sounds really fickle to say, doesn't matter if your boss is a prick. If he's going to make you successful, you should put everything on the line for him. But you know what? In this day and age, you don't get many Harry Kanes and Sons that put in a 10 out of 10, regardless of the manager. You get the other 75% that need to feel wanted and cared and loved and motivated. So we need Nagelsmann. Yes, that's a good shout. Brendan Rodgers, good shout. Even Nuno. You look at the players at Wolves, they're running over to him, they're hugging him. You know, they're lifting him up. You know what I mean? The players love him. You can see it. It's very clear to see the players love him. We need the players to love Mourinho. That love triangle is a bit wonky at the moment. Do you know what I mean? We need them to love Mourinho. And certain managers like Poch, Redknapp, Yol, they have this warm presence. They're not cold. Jose's a bit cold-blooded. He's a bit kind of like, you know what I mean, out there in the dark. And I'm not sure that fits with the modern player anymore, which is maybe why he finished 16th with Chelsea, maybe why he finished 6th with United. Yes, I know Phil Jones needed to be replaced and they couldn't replace him that summer, and then Harry Maguire came in the following season. But you still think with the bunch of players you got, you could finish higher than that, right? You know, like 16th is not good enough and 6th is not good enough for the likes of Lukaku, Angel Di Maria, Alexis Sanchez. These are world-class players. You should be getting a tune out of them. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not like you got crap. So all in all, I think we need a player a manager the players love. I think a coach, a developer, someone who's going to work with young players really well. And I think Nagelsmann, Brendan Rodgers, Nuno at Wolves. I know Wolves are not doing great, but you look at their recruitment and you look at the way the style of football and how he gets blood out of a stone. We need a manager that can get more out of the players than average. Right. And this is what we need. Someone who can not get blood out of a stone. That's being harsh. But someone who can take a 6 out of 10 player like a Davis or 5 out of 10 player like, I don't know, like Doherty, and turn them into a 7 or an 8. And that comes with emotional, physical and mental coaching. It's not just physical coaching. Go and do that, run around there all day long. It's mental, it's physical and it's emotional. And Pochettino got the max out of what he had. And we shouldn't forget that. So a manager that can do that, and I think all 3 names will give us a shout. And who knows, we could even have one of those 3 managers before the end of the season if if the players don't start turning up for Jose.
So I'll go on. I'll let you choose one. Who are you going for?
I'm going to go with Brendan Rodgers. I think if I was in charge and someone said, you know, I'm driving a car and I should be in charge or whatever, if my Bluetooth's connected now, if I had Brendan's number, trust me, I'll be pressing one of these buttons here to call him. I'd tell him, look, you know, you're coming to the biggest potential. In terms of potential, we've got the biggest. So come and join us. You've taken Leicester to as far as possible. Bring Harvey Barnes with you. Bring Maddison with you as well, if you don't mind.
That'd be nice.
Bring a couple of players. Bring your recruitment guy. You know, jokes aside, bring yourself first and foremost. And give him an opportunity to work with some of the younger players, but also give him an opportunity to really kind of build with the club over the next few years. But I hate to say it, I don't want to get rid of Jose just yet, because we could be throwing away the best thing we've ever had.
Yeah.
The grass is not always greener. But if this carries on, and I keep saying 3 games, if this carries on, what chance have we got at the bigger games against? Look, Woolwich ain't a big club, but if we lose or don't pick up 9 points, we're going to Everton, Leicester, Woolwich away. You know, these teams are going to have us. Do you know what I mean? They're going to have us.
Yeah.
So something needs to be done soon. But if you're asking me to put my name forward, the one and only person, I think Brendan Rodgers has done enough to get a big move to Spurs now. With what he's done with Leicester, with what he showed with Liverpool, what he done in Scotland, and his general management of players. The players speak so highly of him, not just 1 or 2, but have a look at the players. They constantly speak highly of their manager. And that's always the biggest sign, is when 3 or 4 players, more than 3 or 4, 7 or 8 players are speaking high of their manager. So that's my name, mate.
Nice, thank you, mate.
Brilliant
Yeah,
job.
massive. Simon, what would you say if I could ask you the question? Do you think he's the right fit for Tottenham, Mourinho? And who would you have?
To me, as quickly, I said it on Josh. I said it on Josh's TV. I said on Josh's channel last night. It was an absolute baffling. It baffled my head, because Leverley doesn't like spending money. Jose likes spending money. That was not a match made in heaven. Absolutely not. Yeah. Me personally would have gone with a Rodgers, because Rodgers, he knew to work with youngsters. He develops youngsters. He knew to do that at Watford and Chelsea, things like that. Yeah. And he's a very, very good manager. And as well, he's well respected, as Josh said, by his fellow colleagues and things like that. And he's a very good manager as well. Just look what he's doing at Leicester. And I said, what we've done in Scotland. Okay, we know about Scotland, but he still had to go there and do a job, and he did do a job there. Yeah. So I think, me personally, Jose at the minute, because we're not spending the money, he's not the right fit. He's not the right fit. Jose just likes spending money. It's as simple as that. He can't come in. Not
built for a rebuild, is he? He's never done it.
Yeah, exactly. So if we are going to go down that way again, as a rebuild and things like that, Rodgers will be my man. Definitely, 100%.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
All right. Here's Lee Jennings here. He says, a new manager is not the answer. Remove ENIC. That's where the answer is. Darcy Cloud say, do you think as well Mourinho signed the Spurs? He thinks he thinks there's a chance for trophies for them. Rob says a new manager changes nothing. Jones said, I think he was asked to build a foundation with Dyer to save money. It's not work, and we need to strengthen our attack. Our attacking play has been decent in recent weeks. It's just centre backs need sorting. Oh, no. Paul says, if you look at teams that Jose built in the past, the players absolutely loved him. Porto, Chelsea, and especially Inter Milan. The players were in tears when Jose left there. That is Jose. That's a Jose we need. Rob says, give him the opportunity to spend no money. Alexander says, hi. Yeah, Alexander, thanks, Pale. Paul says, Jose in, arrogant, etc., etc. He's our manager. See what comes at the end of the season. Still on the road towards top 6 and 2 trophies. Come on, you Spurs. So, guys, the next question is, can you bring in any manager, right, and it won't work under this regime? Would it have to take ENIC to literally set up to make things work again at Tottenham? Do you think ENIC is the main problem? Because most some of these guys in there think ENIC is the problem at this club. You can bring in any manager until they change their ways of spending and things like that, and recruiting in the right way. So they're basically saying you can bring in any manager, but it's not going to change at all. So is it the right way? Is that the right thing now? ENIC's the one who should be gone out this club, set up, and is that the way we got to go, guys? Bobby, go on, mate.
I think if that's going to be the case, if that's what we're going to do, and for the betterment of the club, you're right. And I agree with everyone down there. New manager's not the answer, not the long-term answer, of course not, because the board is still going to be there. But do us Spurs fans have the patience to be an average mediocre side for the next 2 seasons? Because a new board will mean, we discussed this yesterday, new board, new people, new manager, new budgeting, new players coming in, new players going out, is going to be a whole shift. And if you're looking to do a sudden change, you know, if you expect the board to come in and change things overnight, it's not going to happen. A manager might change things overnight, but a board is such a longer project. And if we as Spurs fans collectively are quite happy to sit back and say, right, for the long-term betterment of this club and for the long-term trophy we could achieve with a better board, then yeah, we'll fine with a couple of seasons of averageness if it means that, because that's what's going to happen. No, if the board's in turmoil, there's no way any manager in his right mind, be it how good you are, will come in and want to sign. Which manager's going to want to sign in knowing full well that there's a board going in and a board going out? He's agreeing a contract with a first board who are promising X, Y, Z. New board coming might have totally different ideas. So that's what it's got to be. So yeah, any kind of problem. Of course they are, you know, but they are doing things within a budget, like Josh mentioned earlier. They haven't spent the money. They didn't take advantage of the fact we were the second best team in Europe. And I know I keep on going on about, but I've been going on about that since 2017, 2018. So long run wise, yeah, change the board. But for me, I'm a bit like Paul mentioned, a bit fickle, a bit tunnel visioned. I want changes now. That means changing the manager. Right,
thank you very much for that, Bobby. Josh, I'll come to you next, mate. Exact same question to you, mate. As the guys in the chat here, some of them are saying that you can keep on employing managers and managers over and over again. They do think it's the board is the main problem here. Is it time now that the board says, do you know what? We're going to sell. We're going to sell, bring in someone who's going to take his club forward and maybe spend, maybe have the money to spend on what these managers want and the bigger wage budget, bigger transfer budget and things like that. Do you think, are these guys right in the chat said, do you reckon that's the way forward, Josh, that you can still keep employing these managers, but the problem still lies with ENIC?
Yeah. It's a good question. It's a really good question. It's probably the question that everyone debates most about, ENIC in, ENIC out, because obviously after that you can blame the manager and after that you blame the players, or whichever way around you do it. ENIC always in that formula. So look, we'd all love a quick fix. Would be a sheikh or a Russian to come in and sign us up, sit in their fancy offices abroad, open checkbook. It's a little hobby thing for them, you know, it's just a little thing on the side for them. And we go on to compete with City and United, with Chelsea, with every transfer that's available out there, and bang, you know, we're suddenly we're out there. Obviously you sell your soul a little bit because you do it the easy way, but it's the quick way, you sell your soul a bit in that way, because you just say, right, we're going to buy success, we're not going to do it organically, you know, we're not going to do it from the bottom up through your Harry Kanes, forget your academy, we're just going to go and sign the best player that's available, you know, forget the young guy from Edmonton, whether it's Tanganga or whether it's, you know, whoever it is, Ryan Mason, and you know, Kane, obviously I've mentioned. You know, you've got to sell your soul when you're kind of selling yourself to the money men, right? And that's what you're doing. You're selling the soul of the club. They come in and they dictate what you do because they throw the money at you and you become a slave to their money. But in return, you get loads of success. And, you know, people start calling us plastic. Oh, you just got a rich owner. The things we say about City and Chelsea, you know, we somewhat become plastic. You attract plastic fans all over the globe.
I actually jealous of them.
Well, yeah, you could. That's what I mean. But you know, you have to take with that you know what, you're a club that basically, you know, traditionally did it a certain way, and you did it organically using the scouting system and academy, to now just buying the best players out there. You become FIFA, you become Football Manager, and that's what it is. Somewhat of your soul of your club goes. You don't have an owner who's in the canteen every day with you. How are you? You don't have an owner around the office like you would in a normal company where you can go and have a cup of tea and say, how's it going? If you look at the Amazon documentaries down there in the morning having brekkie, yeah, we got Dan, oh, this is it. He's putting his nose in everything. Yeah. And you want a man who's got his eyes in his ears in the day-to-day runnings of the club. You want an owner who's got that. You want him to smell it, to feel it. You know, you want that, right? You want a personality who's there. You don't want a guy in an offshore office on a laptop. But then with that, you get someone who's real. You get someone who's got an invested interest in the coaching, in the managers, in the players, because 30% of his share every day, his kid's inheritance is dictated on based on how that works. His kid's inheritance. So you have to ask yourself, do you sell your soul? And with that, you don't have an invested, interested owner. He just comes, watches the game, goes back on his private flight. Great, that's great. You've got the money, and you know it's like two departments. One's over here, one's over there. Or you got the guy there every day, coming in, doing it. Wants to get to know the manager. He loves the club. He lives locally. He drives into the club like everyone else. So I think international fans might say we don't care about the chairman being even in the UK. Some fans in the UK will say we don't care if the chairman's in flipping Mars. We just want money and we just want success. But with that, you lose the invested interest. You lose the local touch. You lose the guy who's walking in, having a coffee with you in the morning. And maybe Poch's success was because in the beginning they got along really well. And will we lose that with managers? Will they feel like I'm a bit alienated here? Where are the owners? I don't feel or touch anyone. It's just phone calls every day and spreadsheets. You know, would Martin Jol and Harry Redknapp have had that feel with Levy? And was how much of the success those managers had to do with Levy being there every day, having a catch up like you would do with your normal manager at work? So there's two ways to look at it. But look, quick answer is lots of money. Go and buy success. Thank you very much. Come on, Man City and Chelsea. Let's go for it, United. Organically is stay with them, trust them. They've built this phenomenal infrastructure, so we have to give them a chance to see what it can recoup. They've told us it's going to be fantastic. We're going to have money coming in. Maybe we trust them. To be fair, Levy built that stadium with his own hands. You know what I mean? He was there day and night for 5 years, battling with local councils, battling with, you know, the pub down the road that didn't want to sell, or the steelworks factory that didn't want to move. You need people on deck, is what I'm saying. So you know, be careful what you wish for. But look, the easy fix is more money. You know, football's become money. You know, transfers become money. The Harry Kane stories don't come about much. The local boy who went on to global superstar, it don't happen. You know what I mean? So we're just, football's changing. I've kind of lost love with the organic football growth that I grew up watching. It's now money, money, money. And if you don't spend money, you don't generally get success. But isn't it beautiful when you don't spend money and you get success? Isn't that more, I know it's more romantic, and we're not here to be romantic, we're here to be realists, but isn't it better when the local community or the local you know, when you're organically growing the club? Right now, Tottenham as an area has been so deprived. Trust me, I drive down there all the time. The whole area has had a massive lift. People don't talk about that. The flats, the businesses, the jobs, the employment, all that comes with a local man who understands the area. If there's some sheikh in the UAE, they're not really that bothered about Tottenham Hotspur, the area. They're not worried about Tottenham, the area. They're not worried about Haringey Council. They're worried about their pockets and their club and the hobby. So sometimes you want a local man, sometimes you want an international man. Obviously, Joe Lewis is in the Bahamas on his boat. Don't get me wrong. Levy's down here, is his puppet. And between the two of them, they're running the club to what they would call a good job with the stadium. And if you look at the last 20 years, they've taken us from mid-table to European guaranteed football. So in their eyes, they're doing a good job. In the fans' eyes, most of them are saying they're not doing a good job. The reason is because we're not signing Bruno, we're not signing Skriniar, we're not signing these Galacticos and marquee signings. So at the end of the day, we might just have to go and buy success. And that might be the only way, mate. So maybe the owners do have to go. And to stay in the top four, we need to spend that honey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic there, Josh. You went through everything there, mate. Yeah, Josh said.
Listen,
before we get to Hyper,
unfortunately, I need to go, Simon. I'm really sorry, mate.
Josh, thank you for your comments, pal. Seriously, absolutely.
Cheers,
thanks for coming on.
Man.
Absolutely fantastic, guys. Get
go
over
and
to
count,
the Spurs
go count that money, mate.
on YouTube. Yeah, go and count all that cash in that car there, lad.
Go and eat those tomatoes, mate. Go on, off you go.
Yeah, I've got some onions. I've got some. My car stinks of onions, mate. You know what I mean? I need to.
Oh no!
I know.
And they're red onions as well. They're red.
So
man.
Oh
no!
I was going to stay there till tomorrow.
The missus is making Mexican.
Josh, there's a little comment for you here.
She's making some Mexican, so I'll remember you, Hyper, because apparently.
Thank you, Josh.
So I'm going to get some food down me. She's waiting for these onions and the rest of this. But thank you. The channel Spurs Debate. It's Spurs Debate, one word. Listen, thank you guys for coming on my channel yesterday. Hyper, we need to get you on. These boys are doing it for the love of the game, for the love of the club, for the love of the players, the love of you know, the community, the Tottenham Hotspur community. So big up to every single one of you that's tuned in and given your personal time. Big up to you guys, and let's carry on this this knowledge sharing, this love sharing, this hate sharing, whatever you want to call it. Let's bring it to the pot, and I call it therapy. It's therapy. I can go now, and the missus doesn't even know anything about Tottenham. For me, I've had the best part of my day. So thank you very much, and I'll see you guys soon.
See you later, mate.
Thank you very much, Josh.
Thank you.
Take care, Matt. Take care, Simon. Take care.
Cheers, mate.
See you soon, guys. See you soon, Josh. Yeah, guys, as I said, there's plenty of them in the chat here saying about we've been down every direction with this owner. We've been down every direction, splashing money, trying to develop youth and things like that. And basically, these are guys that are just tired now. What you're hearing in this chat now, they're just literally tired. There's no trophies in 13 years. They're basically, do you trust ENIC when everything comes around? Fans back and saying, do you really, really trust ENIC when all this money comes in again to put money on that table for that manager? Because I don't. I really don't. I think they're here. It's a cash cow. Tottenham's a cash cow to them. I do not trust them when this all gets fans back and the money comes in. I don't trust them, and I think we do. I don't think in the end we do need to sell. I really do.
I think it depends.
Yeah,
I think like if we don't get in if we don't get back in the Champions League like for a couple of seasons or something like that, that's their main priority, and that's where they're going to get most of their money back. So then I think they'd have to put their hand in their pocket.
And this is sorry, Matt. I'll get back to you, mate. And this because this is a good one here. Of course, it would be better to grow organically, but it ain't happening now. So how long do we have to wait? And that is a good one. How long do we have to still wait for success? And that is a good one. That's a good point. That's a good point. And people can go on about, you can just have a big owner. He won't care about the club. But does City fans, Chelsea fans care? Don't they? Hell, they don't care. They don't care. And just look at this, Bobby and Matt. Before we get back to you, me and Matt went through this City team yesterday. Yeah. The bench alone, is Aguero, Jesus, Foden, Rodri, Laporte, Mendy, Torres, and Walker. Seriously, and that's what I'm saying about I don't care. They don't care about Man City, or they don't care about. Seriously, they're spending the money, and I think this is what these fans now. We've had all these years of they've been trying all directions. I think now there's a sped up now with this build and. Go on, Bobs.
I don't know if Hyper agrees and you guys agree with me, but there is. It's an unfair comparison comparing us to. We'll look at the value of the owners. So there's an unfair comparison between what we can spend and what Man City can spend and have spent. The quality for us has been on the bench. Early on in the season, we had the likes of. And Dembele on the bench numerous of times. We had the likes of Davis, who was seen as a good player early on the season. Earlier on the season, we were fantastic, and that reflected really good on the bench. Now, because we're playing crap, our bench looks loads weaker as well. Would the board spend money on a manager? Exactly what Matt says. I think it depends. If Nagelsmann was to come in, I think he'd agree beforehand. Probably Jose has already, but if Nagelsmann was to come in, he would demand money. He'd say, "Right, I'll come in. I'll make you a better team. I'll make this."
He'll do it organically, though, won't he? He'll say, "I will do it.
I'll do it. I need the funds."
Exactly, Matt.
Organically is all good, matey, but it's not sustainable. Not in today's climate. We'll have a team who's doing it organically. We'll have a team, unfortunately, over the road who's going to go out and spend a bit of money. So yeah, I don't know what you think, Hyper, but it's so unfair of us to compare our transfer activity in comparison to the Man City. It's an unfair comparison, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, that is why, in my opinion, we have to give time to this project to develop, because we cannot do that. We cannot spend that money. We cannot invest that money, and we have to give him time, because maybe at the moment right now it seems bad. The situation seems bad. But I honestly believe if we sack Jose now, I think maybe at the beginning it will appear things are better, but in the long term, maybe that will be a wrong decision. And the reality is, the board is not going to sell. Maybe they were rumors about selling, and that's why they do the documentary, and that's why they bring Mourinho and the new stadium. So it was a promotion for finding a new buyer. But I believe at the moment they are not going to sell. I don't know what is going to happen. But the thing is, we are here and now. What do we do now? We have to unite. We have to unite, because if we as fans start to fight, and everyone in this fan base start to fight and start to split, this will continue. So this is the time we have to be united. We have to unite, and we have to go on together, and let's see what the season brings.
Hyper, I think you've probably not heard, but these guys will know. I've always said, although I'm Jose out, I do not want anything but for me to be proven wrong. I want Jose to win every single game for the rest of the season. I want him to be a success and bring in all the trophies. I want, at the end of the season, for yourself, Josh, Matt, Si, anyone to come on here and say, Bobby, there you go, mate. You look like a bit of a fool. Jose, I want that. That's what I want. I want to be proven wrong. All I can go by is what I'm seeing at the moment. And for someone so experienced to be so tactically naive and tactically inept, he's come in and he's my football team's manager. He's there to manage my team and manage my squad. And all I can see, mate, like I say, it's just an opinion. All I can see from my view, he's not done that. He's just not done it.
Yeah, Matt. Sorry, pal. I jumped in before, I think, mate. What was you going to say, pal? To continue, what was you going to say there, mate?
Well, I was just obviously saying, not saying it's a blessing in disguise, but maybe not, not finishing in Europe or something like that. It might force the owners to go, hang on a minute. Well, we're not in the Europa League. We're not in the Champions League. So we've got to do something here to get back into it. And whether it's getting Argusman or no, I think Bobby looks a bit
Cheers
like
for that, Paul. Cheers, mate. Yeah, I wish I had his money.
I get the Nuno vibe. I got the Nuno vibe.
Nuno.
That's what I'm feeling. That's what you wanted.
It's Minty's and Nuno's love child. That's who I am. Yeah. You have to really know. Hyper's wondering what the hell's who we're on about. We'll send you some pictures over, mate.
Yeah. I'll send you a picture later, Hyper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. They're not stupid. They're Daniel Levy's a businessman at the end of the day, and if the target is the Champions League or whatever, yes, they might have to spend, and part of the reason why we've gone into the stadium, I think, was for them to. They know they're going to go for. They've got to go up to the next level. We've still got NFL games to come there. When that all kicks off. Daniel Levy's brought in a bloke who's hopefully going to get the naming rights done, which would be massive. With the news yesterday from Boris, it looks like the Guns N' Roses concert at the Tottenham Stadium will be going ahead, and Lady Gaga. So that brings in an extra 30 million in revenue, which you can't sniff at at these times. So in terms of Jose, I kind of am on the fence, but the more rumours I'm hearing and he's supposed to be a tactical genius and things like that, I'm just not seeing it at this moment in time. I feel like with the Dyer and Sanchez scenario, is he deliberately playing them to prove that he needs two other centre-backs? So he's using them to go, hang on a minute, I'm going to, this is my proof that they're not good enough. You want to keep them, but that they're clearly not good enough. But in my eyes, that's bad from him, and I suppose quite arrogant of him, because it's affecting the team in general and it's costing us points. So it's a hard one, but the rumours and his press conferences and the way he keeps coming out saying my coaches are second to none and I will be a success at Tottenham and not a failure. Well, I don't know. It just kind of smells more of like when he was towards the end at United for me.
Yeah. So, guys, are you all right for another 10 minutes, guys?
Everyone 10 minutes, yes, mate. Yeah, I was just going to say I've got 10 minutes left.
10 minutes is
yeah.
good.
Yeah. So, guys, I put the link in the chat, guys. So, if you want to come on, and some of you are fiery in here. Come on,
get Paul in. Get Paul in.
Come on,
get Paul in.
Come on.
Yeah,
I want to see Paul.
I want to see what he looks like. Yeah.
I want to see this Paul. I want to see Paul.
Yeah, that's it.
Rob. Just get on, guys.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
a couple
get
minutes
on, mate.
to show the face. So, guys, quickly, just a quick question, just a quick answer from each one of you, guys. Would you have stayed at the old White Hart Lane, guys, and built a good team first, and then built the stadium after, then put this team into it? Have they done it the wrong way round?
I don't think. I mean, you've got to remember, it wasn't a case of halfway through the last season we had at White Hart Lane, we decided to move into a new stadium. Things were put in place for a number of years. Who could have foreseen us finishing that season unbeaten at home? Mate, we were firing on all cylinders. We were winning. Well, we won all but one game, didn't we, at home that season? Who could have foreseen that? And for to have such a wicked stadium ready, getting ready for us. Everything was in the pipeline. Why delay that? Why delay? Hey, go get Phil on. Yeah, get Phil on.
Come on, Paul. Why
delay it?
Come on, Paul.
That's it, mate. Yeah. As an investment, as the monetary value that stadium holds right now, is it beneficial for us to maybe delay it for 2 years? If we had, would we have managed to get all the players in that we got in this summer? So, in an ideal world, we would have taken. It was the form, wasn't it? And it was if we could take another that form to Wembley, which after a while we did. But no one could have foreseen us smashing teams left, right, and centre that last season at White Hart Lane. We didn't lose that many players from that team, so essentially we could have carried on. But no, I don't think it's been the wrong decision. Financially, it was totally right, and if we were going to move with the times, we had to do it then.
Yeah. Matt, have you got anything to shine on that? What Bobby said?
Yeah, obviously, I think we all loved, the old White Hart Lane, and like Bobby says, that season where we were just smashing teams at home for fun, it was brilliant to watch, wasn't it? You were just going into teams and going, oh yeah, probably score 3 or 4 today.
That's it. Yeah.
But yeah, that stadium wasn't sustainable for us to go to the next level, for the future. And when you go to the new stadium, it is incredible, and it puts a smile on your face. But like Bobby said, we still kept most of the players the next season. I think that's what we got to remember as well. It was the transition from there to Wembley. That must play on players' minds and the manager. It's not your home. It's not your home. It's where teams play cup finals, and some teams are more used to going there than others. With a bigger pitch, which makes a hell of a lot of difference, a lot wider, But we got used to it, and then we were fine again. But I think we wouldn't have been able to, without the new stadium, attract the kinds of players. We didn't get them, but I mean, I don't think you attract someone like a Bruno Fernandes or or someone like that, or even Gareth Bale. I think he might have gone back and gone, it's just still the old White Hart Lane again, or Sergio Reguilon. Like they're going into that stadium, looking around, going, wow, it's just. It must be unbelievable to play when that stadium's 60,000 or 60. Yeah, it just must be incredible. So but I mean, maybe investment could have been better, but in the long run, I think it would be the right decision. And I'm sure we'll talk about this in the future, hopefully, and we're more successful in winning loads of trophies. But fingers crossed.
Yeah, no. As I said, guys, you're both spot on there. But I just thought going to this massive stadium of ours and things like that, we could have gone with a better team. That's what I thought. But there you go. As you said, it's gonna make us. The revenue is going to be incredible once this stadium opens up and everyone's back in there. I can see both of your points there. Hyper, would you have stayed at White Lane and make sure the team was right before we make this move to the new stadium, or do you feel you accept with Bobby and Matt?
Yes, I believe, for example, like Manchester City, where we talk about them, but they build a new stadium and they continue to invest in these world-class players. So I believe this has nothing to do, in my opinion. We could do it. We could build the stadium and we could continue buying, or we can buy world-class players. So I believe this is not a problem. But there is another side of this, and the other side is that this team didn't have an stadium. They have to move from White Hart Lane. They had to go to Wembley, and Wembley was like a neutral stadium. And now that we have our own stadium, look at the situation we are in now. So these players have been looking for a stable moment, and I think we haven't had that stable period of time after we moved from White Hart Lane and then to Wembley, then this, but with no fans. So there has been a lot of problems, and I think everything just has to jelly, to settle down. Everything has to be calm, because we have been rushing and we have been doing all these things. So now is a period to have some peace, and that peace will bring us stability. And like Matt said, now in Australia they are starting to do some concerts. Now in the UK they are going to open now a lot of places, public places. So we hope people are in the stadium as fast as possible, because for this board the important thing is the money. So people in the stadium equals to more money and more revenue.
Yeah, absolutely spot on there, Hyper. So guys, I was going to go through these chats, and one last question to ask you guys. Jonesy says the exact same thing happened at United. He continuously wanted a centre back. They sacked him and signed Maguire for 80 million. Paul says purchase a defence, creative player, backup striker, and we're back in it. Come on, you Spurs. And Paul says, good stream again, lads. See you next time. Thanks, Paul, for tuning in from Florida. Cheers, pal. Thanks, Paul.
Oh, it's chickened out. He's not coming on.
Nah, guys, stop hiding behind them keyboards. Get on here, guys. Come on. So Paul says we have at the stadium facilities. Manager just needs support from Munich to beef up the squad. So guys, we've had all that chat. Yeah, we've spoke about numerous things and things like that, who's to blame and things like that. Has anyone come up with an answer? Who's to blame? That's the question. Does anyone know? Did we get any answers out of that? What we talked about, or are we still? There's a few things what's going on. It could be a few things what's going on. The problem, or does someone want to come up and say, "Listen, they're to blame"?
No, I think my view on it is, I think it's just everyone at the club has to take a fall for this. Whatever's gone wrong, something's gone completely wrong tactically or whatever. You can't just blame Mourinho. You can't just blame the players. It's a collective. That's the whole point of a club, you know. Everyone's got to take a part of the blame. So for me, it would be the board. Yeah, they've had questions. Why haven't they spent more or spent more wisely? You could say the recruitment team, the board hire them, or Daniel Levy hires Steve Hitchen, gets rid of Paul Mitchell. Players. You got players like Sanchez, Dyer, other players who just don't look like they really care anymore. The passion's kind of gone for the badge, if it was kind of ever there. And then you also got, obviously, Mourinho. Daniel Levy hired him. He's his man. He's put all his money on him. Don't think you can say Daniel Levy's not an ambitious man, because he's paid him 15 million a year, and his record, and people say he's the coach of the century. I think he's been voted or something like that. So I think he has tried to go down that route. But Mourinho has to take blame as well. He keeps playing the same centre backs. He's, you're hearing things coming out in the press from the Athletic and reliable sources saying that players are getting sick and tired of his training methods. His playing staff are getting fed up with it. There's a lot of mess at this club at the moment, and I think everyone has a part to and everyone has a part to play and a part to blame. I don't think it's just one individual, and I think that's where your top clubs who win the league or go on to be successful, they're run properly. Yeah, they might have more money, but they're there as a collective, and they're all one as a unit. You look at someone like West Ham at the moment, the players, the staff, the chairman. I know that some of their fans don't like their chairman or people in charge, but they look like they're a unit. It's the same with Leicester. So that's what needs to happen. There needs to be a real loads of meetings coming up, especially coming into the summer, and they've got some decisions to make, because this is could potentially be a massive summer for Tottenham in terms of do you keep the manager? What will happen? We don't know, but it's Tottenham and it's a roller coaster of a ride, and don't think we'd change it, would we?
Yeah, nice one, Matt. Go on, Bobs. Go on.
Yeah. What my feelings are towards Mr. Mourinho. I think if we are looking at an immediate change, it's not going to change overnight. Bringing someone else in, I believe, and it's clearly just my opinion, I believe there is someone out there who could come in and tactically make us a better team, make us a bit more forefront. Going back to White Hart Lane, when we used to kick off, I don't know if you guys remember this, it's probably really geeky, but when we used to kick off, our right back, Carl Walker, always used to start off at the halfway line. Always. Where's that gone?
Yes.
I know we haven't got that right back, but Ori doesn't do it. Doherty doesn't do it, and that went out of a game. That's Spurs. That's us.
Yeah.
So I believe there is someone else out there, in my eyes, who can come in and do a better job than what Jose is doing right now. That's a personal opinion. I want to be wrong. Like I keep on saying, I want to be proved wrong. So for me, right now, that's the problem. Board, everything else, etc., yeah, is an issue. Their ambition, how much money they're spending is today's conversation, which we've had. But right now, I'm greedy. I want things to change now, and the only way, in my eyes, that would change is by replacing Jose Mourinho. And I really hope he manages to change my mind if he's still there after the next 10 or so games.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much there, Bob. Some really good comments there, mate. Very good opinionated, Bobby is, and we respect your opinions, mate. Hyper, do you agree with Matt? Do you agree with Bobby? Or do you have your own little say there, mate?
Yeah, well, like we discussed this a lot, but a lot of these fans were Jose out since the beginning of the time, since he was announced. So, like I told you, he cannot win, because if he does anything good, they are not going to give him any credit. When players like Tanguy, players like Toby, players like Kane, players like Son speak good things about him, nobody cares. So nobody cares what the good things they say about him. And also this has been the story, because he sells a lot of stories when they talk about him. So if you see a negative thing about Jose, you are going to click on it. So like he said a lot of times, sometimes journalists he fits their families. So I believe he cannot win in this club. He cannot win because everything he does is bad. Everything he does is to hurt the players. Everything he does is wrong. So I believe if anyone is under these circumstances, it is impossible for that person to win. And like we said it, and as we saw it when David, the Irish Hotspur, went to the football terrace, they just hate Jose. And I believe this is the problem with this fan base. They hate him. They hate him because of his success. He was very, very, very successful, and I understand it hurt a lot to watch your rival win and win and win and win. And I believe this is the reason they hate him. So I am done with this. I believe, in my opinion, he will not win here. He won't win here, and he can't win here because this fan base hates him.
Well, I think you're right, Hyper. I think there are a number of people out there who just hate Jose because it's Jose. But there are some articulate supporters out there, and I consider myself a bit more articulate than people who jump on the Jose bandwagon. All I'm going by, and I think Jose was the best manager in the world in the first, 10 or so games, or whenever when we were top of the league. I thought, finally, we've got a manager who's going to take us to the next level, and he's going to win us every single trophy on earth. But me personally, maybe I'm not as, I don't think loyalty comes into it. I just go by how I feel my manager is doing. I have every right in my mind. I have every right to change my mind about how I feel about the manager. Platforms like this, like We Are Tottenham TV, We Are any other platform, is all about giving opinions. And you're right, Hyper. There's players out there. There's fans out there who will just say Jose out, regardless. He could win the next 100 games, and there'll always be Jose out because of his name. I don't consider myself like that. Like I say, I want Jose to turn it all around and win through. And I want people to say, there you go, egg on your face. That's what I want. That's what I want. But if I have to give an honest opinion how I feel about it right now, and how I've been feeling about it since the last few games where we've been absolutely rubbish. Yeah, the West Ham game can be taken to, but my first half is more of a concern than the great second half. My personal opinion is, right now, I can't see how Jose is going to turn it around. I can't see anything changing right now. But I really hope, matey, that I'm sitting beside you in Mexico by you bringing me over, and we can celebrate Jose's success together.
Oh, that's brilliant! That's brilliant, there, guys. As I said there, Bobby, these sort of platforms, mate, it's all about opinions. Everyone's got their own opinion. That's what's so good about it. If everyone had the same opinion, it's not worth talking about things because it'd be boring. So this is what good things about this. Everyone's got their own opinion, their own minds. Which Jones says, what's your thoughts if he delivers 2 trophies this season? Quickly, before we leave, go on. We'll answer Jones' last question.
Guys, I have to go because my battery is running down.
Okay.
See you guys later.
Right,
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you, guys.
See you later, mate.
See you guys.
See you later, buddy.
Thank you.
Cheers.
So, Bobby, thanks for hanging in there, mate. Absolute pleasure.
It's all right, mate. My divorce papers are in the post, but never mind. It's all right.
What's your thoughts if he delivers 2 trophies this season?
Yeah, love it. Absolutely fantastic. If he wins us two trophies, which will be the Carabao Cup and the Europa Cup, it means win the Champions League this season. If he just won the Carabao Cup and we finished 8th or 9th, then no, not good enough. But if he's concentrated on 2 cups, be the Europa Cup and the Carabao Cup, and he's let the league positions slip a bit, then fair enough. But again, no, that's me being too greedy. I want it done in a certain fashionable way, in a certain Tottenham way. But if it means we've won 2 trophies and we finished 6th, 7th, then yeah, that for me, yeah, gives him another season easily. It means win the Champions League.
Here we go. Matt, what do you reckon of Jose's comments there, mate?
Well, I think for me, if he did that, I wonder if he'd go, can I win any more? Or is it, do you know what I mean? Would Daniel Levy go, mate, your job's done. We're gonna go down the new route, and we're gonna go for Nagelsmann, and we're gonna do a rebuild. But I mean, if he won those 2 trophies and it's the Europa League and the Carabao Cup, then yeah, he deserves obviously a summer to go and get, you back him, I suppose, and then
too right.
And then if he could win the Europa League and the Carabao Cup with this squad, he'd definitely be up there, wouldn't he? And then you're thinking, what happens if I back this guy? What happens if I get these centre backs? Maybe we could win a league title. Do you know what I mean? That sounds ridiculous, but
biggest issue is biggest issue is I don't believe he'll do that. I don't think he's got it within to win us 2 cups. You know, we're not going to.
I'm sort of feeling like it's going to be hard winning that Carabao Cup alone, just with Manchester City. Even their second squad's unbelievable. Do you know what I mean?
That's it.
And I just can't see us not being able to. We'll make a defensive error, or we'll make a mistake. And then the Europa League, I don't know how we're going to get through that. There's so many good teams in it this year.
Mate,
Leicester, Manchester United, Ajax, AC Milan. Like, these teams are going to destroy us at this moment in time. Like, we're playing Wolfsberger, you know, and to be fair, in that away game, it was nearly 3-2.
That's it.
So what would other teams do to us?
No.
You know, maybe we go underestimated in the Europa League. You know, people go, "Oh, it's only Tottenham. We'll turn them over," and then we'll turn up. I don't know, but
he seems to have, you know, talking of eggs and basket. He's really confident about the Europa League, isn't he? But I think that's probably a bit of blind.
I think he's got to be, hasn't he? I feel like Levy's probably said, "Well, mate, you know, if I'm Daniel Levy, that's the thing that's hanging him on by a thread. He's still in that competition because it is the way to the Champions League." Because
that's it.
Yeah, so I think that could be the only thing really that's hanging him on. We'll probably get through tomorrow night, hopefully, and but it just depends who we get in the draw, and you know, it's going to be a harder team. We're playing the lowest seeded team in the Europa League. That's how lucky we were in the draw. So you're not going to get that again.
No chance.
Right, guys, absolutely fantastic. Thanks for everyone who came in the comments tonight, guys. Answer all the questions. I hope we did answer all the questions right for you. Just thanks for the panel, for Bobby for coming in. Absolutely, and lasting an hour and 15 minutes, mate. Thank you very much.
Man, Bobby, mate.
It's all right, mate, no problem.
Matt for coming as always. That does a fantastic job of me.
No problem, mate.
Thanks for Josh.
No worries, mate.
Go over to the Spurs debate over at YouTube. Go and follow Hyper on Twitter. Bobby, have you got a channel up and running yet? Or
hopefully, mate. I've put an intro out. It's Bob Spur TV. So it's you got me on the bug. So I'll be sending you a link, and we're all in it together, aren't we? If we can help each other out somehow. So
absolutely.
I've got the bug, mate. I've got the bug.
So guys, get over to Bob's TV. Is it Bob's
Spur? Bob Spur.
Oh, it's Bob Spur TV.
That's
YouTube.
it.
Go over and give him a subscribe, like, comment, and everything. Share the channel out, guys. He's absolutely great. He's got great opinions, Bobby. Absolutely fantastic.
Guys. Thank you, mate. Cheers.
And thanks to Matt, as said, he's always on here. He must be sick and tired. Come on,
it's been a long day, mate. It's been a long day, mate. I'll tell you.
Oh, mate.
We had 2 hours this morning. Now we nearly had 2 hours now. But hey, that's what Tottenham does to you, and that's what the comments does to you as well. So
I'm spending more time with you guys in the evening than the missus, which is kind of worrying, but never mind. So
thanks for everyone who's been tuned in, guys.
You guys are fantastic.
Guys, I've been Simon. This has been Matt, the Sussex Hotspur. This has been Bobby Singh. We had Josh in there. Thanks for Josh coming. Thanks for Hype coming in. Thanks for everyone in the comments coming in, for supporting the channel, guys. Good night. God bless. And we'll leave you with this. So guys, so guys, thanks for everyone in the chat. We'll leave this one. Top 943, you've been absolutely superb as well in the chat. Jonesy, we'll go through a few others. Paul, he's always in it. Paul and Jonesy, they've been brilliant. Paul Brown, thanks for coming in, pal. Absolutely. And obviously we got a few others. Rob, thanks for coming in, mate. There's Josh, the Spurs debate. Alexander, I said there's a few here that you can roll over. They always come in and support this channel. Darty Cloud 92, absolutely fantastic. Thanks for coming in, mate. Absolutely a pleasure. Blade as well. Thanks for coming in. As I said, there's loads of people who've come in tonight, guys. Who supported the channel. When you're back on, when we're back on tomorrow night, guys. Before I sign out, I've decided I was a bit humming on doing a watch along. I will put a watch along on tomorrow. What's the time? What's the kickoff time tomorrow? Is it 5 o'clock, guys?
No, I think it's 8, isn't it? 'Cause we're at home. Let me double check now for you, mate.
So, guys, I will be putting a watch along on, and there'll be a post match after the game with the fans calling, as we'll normally do after the game now.
Oh, it is 5 o'clock tomorrow, mate. 5 o'clock tomorrow.
Yes, 5 o'clock. So I'll be on here, guys. I'll be on here for 4:30, probably 20 to 5, something like that. With a live watch, and I'll put all the team lineups and everything on it. I don't know. I'll have anyone because I think Matt's gonna come on that the post match if he can.
Yeah, I might just have an evening with my dad just watching it, guys. To be honest.
Yeah. So that's not a problem, mate. Absolutely. So, guys, yeah. So tomorrow, guys, 20 to 5, about 4:30, 20 to 5 on here, guys. A match watch along versus Wolfsberger, followed by a post match and the fans calling. So head over tomorrow. I'll put everything. I'll schedule it tonight and I'll edit everything tonight. So thanks for everyone in the chat. Absolutely fantastic support for the channel. The subscribers are coming up. They are going up slowly but surely. So guys, if you know anyone, get them to subscribe to the channel. They don't have to watch the channel, guys. It's only a touch of a button. So thanks, guys. Again, good night. God bless. And come on, Spurs. Believe, guys. Believe. Come on.
Come on.